Welcome to MSG PM, presented for the people by Caesars Sportsbook. Your app is ready, Emperor. My name is Kazim Famiude, and right now you're checking out a tilt between the New York Rangers and the New Jersey Devils, where the Rangers scored 6 unanswered goals off the back of Igor Shesterkin with 32 saves. We're going to talk a whole lot of hockey, but before we get into any of that, I got to bring in my man with the numbers, my boy, the one and only Jeff Eisenband. Jeff, Igor balled out all season long. Do yourself a favor and put the people on. Tell them what they saw.
Well, first, this isn't really a number, but Devils fans, we will show you different. Next year, it'll be different. It won't be these Rangers kind of edging the Devils that we'll just be talking about. The Devils are going to improve. Both these teams are going to improve. And for the Rangers, Igor Shesterkin is a big reason why. You see their 5th in Calder Trophy voting, a 91.6 save percentage last year, 2.62 goals against average. I know a lot of people thought Igor was going to take the clear reins from Henrik Lundqvist and Alexander Georgiev was going to be that backup, but really it was a balance last year, and I think that was good for Shesterkin. You know, you talk about a guy who's been able to come in and learn from Henrik Lundqvist. That's how he started, and I don't want to get too crazy with these comparisons, but there's a lot of Hank-esque things going on with him. Came over from Europe. He's 25 years old now. Henrik Lundqvist wasn't a teenager when he started over here in the NHL. And I think that Igor Shesterkin will only continue to gain reps. And I don't think it's crazy to say, as he continues to get more games under his belt, that he is going to be a perennial Vezina Trophy contender over the next few years. And I think it's going to start with a big year out of him this year.
You know, Jeff, this isn't Pee Wee's Playhouse, but you definitely did say the magic word, and that is Vezina Trophy. So producers, hit me with the full screen, and let's see those odds with the top contenders for the Vezina Trophy. Lots of interesting names over here, including the incumbent winner, Marc-Andre Fleury, with 1,000 odds, sharing odds with a lot of top contenders, including Carey Price, who almost was a member of the Seattle Kraken this year. Jeff, what sticks out the most to you here?
Yeah, those two veterans. I mean, the Canadians dangled that carrot in front of the Kraken and they didn't go for it. Carey Price, you know, I don't want to say he's past his prime and not a contender, because then I would be doing a disservice to Marc-Andre Fleury, who's been around forever. And like you said, is the defending winner last year with Vegas. And I think that's important because I think a guy like Marc-Andre Fleury, 1.98 goals against average. He's been around so long. He needs a new challenge, and he gets that this year in Chicago, playing with a different team. He has something again to improve. And what we've saw from Marc-Andre Fleury, when he goes to a new team, when he's in a new situation, he responds to it. So at plus 1,000, I'm looking for him to go back to back.
You know, Jeff, the one thing that sticks out with all those odds we just had on the screen, they look real close, real tight. So I think that's an excellent opportunity to get in on some underdogs. So full screen me real quick, producers. Look at these names right here. You got Igor Shesterkin, the aforementioned over here with plus 2,500 odds. Also MacKENZIE BLACKWOOD with 5,000 odds. What's the best money bet right here, Jeff?
Well, that's interesting the way that you put it, because I think MacKENZIE BLACKWOOD at plus 5,000, he didn't have his best stuff last year. Devils fans, I said I'd say good things at the beginning of this. The Devils continue to improve. They're going to be a better defensive team this year. There's going to be a better front, which goalies love, by the way, Kaz. If you can do anything to protect the goaltender, they love it. MacKENZIE BLACKWOOD, 2.83 career goals against average. We're going to see, and at plus 5,000, compared to these other guys, when you start the year, it's a clean slate. That's not bad to sprinkle a little on. Igor Shesterkin, maybe not the same value that I just mentioned, but I did mention he will continue to be a contender. And the fact that he's on the second page right now, you have to pay attention to that. And you have to get ahead of the curve, because he's going to be in there one of these years.
You know what, Jeff? Defense wins championships. I'm sure whoever said that is a much smarter man than me. But we come to see goals, man. We come to see points. So let's talk about some of these Hart Trophy contenders. Full screen me real quick. Lots of interesting names at the top. Connor McDavid and Nathan MacKinnon lead the pack. Talk to me about it real quick, Jeff.
Well, I think the guy who really should be leading the pack is Nikita Kucherov, who you look at the stats, all right? Look at this guy on paper. By the way, Tampa Bay Lightning, 2-time defending champions with him, 128 points in 2018 to 19. Then he had 85 points in 68 games. Didn't play last season, shows up in the playoffs, and only has a Stanley Cup playoffs leading 32 points in 23 playoff games. So, I mean, you can't help but look at a guy like Kucherov. If he's healthy, if he's back, why would anyone be ahead of him? I think Artemi Panarin has to be thrown around here, the hometown guy who continues to be a goal scorer. If the Rangers could continue to improve as a team, I think that's going to help Panarin's standing.
All right, you know what time it is. Let's hit us with those underdogs, some long shots real quick for that Hart Trophy contender. You got a lot of interesting names here again. Patrick Kane at 2,500. Very, very interesting. Matt Barzal also here, some pretty good value. And I love me some good value when it comes to these long shot odds, Jeff. So what's the best value out of these 6 names in front of us?
I mean, is there a player that gets more disrespect than Matt Barzal as a superstar? I think people just they don't want to do it because it's the Islanders, and sitting here at plus 2,000, he's been one of the best players in the Stanley Cup playoffs. If not, I mean, if you made an all Stanley Cup playoff team for the last 2 years, he would be on it. And I think Barzal down here at plus 2,000, he continues to improve. He continues to get better. He's coming into his prime. The Islanders are finally, Barry Trotz back with a full season under his belt with this team. That's good value there for Matt Barzal.
Now, one of the biggest stories coming out of the hockey season is the expansion of the league with this brand new team, the Seattle Kraken. Love that name, by the way. Let's talk about their point totals, their over-unders. They're looking at a 90.5 point total for this season. Is that a good projection for this team?
I think it's a fair projection. You know, we talk about 94.5 being, you know, that playoff. We've talked about with the Rangers, that being that playoff mark. So maybe even a little forgiving because you mentioned Vegas and what they were able to do, making the Stanley Cup final in that first season. I love the Seattle Kraken as an underdog this year. I love everyone sleeping on them, thinking maybe they made things a little tougher this time around. The Seattle Kraken aren't going to the Stanley Cup like Vegas did, but I think this is a team that, like Vegas a few years ago, has nothing to lose. And I think they're going to play loose. I think you see this with expansion teams. They're guys that maybe they're getting that second chance. Colin Blackwell among them over there, a former Ranger. And I just think that I'm excited to watch the Kraken, this motley crew of players that are going to be put together with just playing loose with nothing to lose. That's a scary team.
It's a scary team. That's a fun team. And like they say in hockey, we're going to do that hockey and toss you right back to that Rangers and Devils game. That is Jeff Eisenband. I'm Kazim Famiwude. This has been MSG PM presented for the people by Caesars Sportsbook. Your app is ready, Emperor. Catch you soon.